Well, hello guys, it's me again for a new VCR video. And so yesterday my dad brought me this VCR. He found it in he went to a store, I think, and next to that place there was a container with electronics to be recycled in it. And he found this VCR and brought it to me. So it's a Mitsubishi VCR, which is pretty rare to find in my area. And actually this is kind of funny because it's been over 7 years that I collect VCRs and go to thrift stores to look for VCRs frequently, and I've never seen any Mitsubishi VCR in a thrift store in my area. Only time I've seen one in a thrift store was when I went to Massachusetts with the VCR King. We saw a Mitsubishi VCR, and but I've never gotten one from a thrift store here, or even seen one. But I've got Mitsubishi VCRs, but never from a thrift store, and it's not the first time I'm getting a broken Mitsubishi VCR from elsewhere. The first time it was from a friend of mine who had a Mitsubishi VCR with this mechanism, like this one, and it was the power supply was dead, and it was smoking. And then my dad brought me 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, Mitsubishi VCR with a different mechanism, the older mechanism, and that was defective too. And the tape door is missing. So the cassette door is missing. So maybe the VCR has been dropped or something, though it does not seem to be damaged from the outside, other than this door is missing. So I do not know what happened to this VCR. So there is something here that is kind of, I don't know, it's misplaced. This part here, I don't know what it is. But I don't think this part here in the center of the screen, I don't think it should be placed like this. And so it doesn't go in all the way. So it's just the belt on the bottom side that's bad, and we're going to replace it now. So I'll just turn the VCR upside down so I can remove the tape from there. And so right now this is the bottom side of the VCR with the cover removed, and this is the belt that is bad, so it's slipping, and it's also stretchy, kind of stretchy, and so it doesn't turn well anymore, slipping a lot, and so I'm going to replace it. And here on this pulley, I noticed it looks like it's been glued. It was already like this. I just opened it. I did not do that. So maybe someone repaired this part and glued it because it fell off. I do not know. This sometimes happened on VCRs. So there are some plastic parts that fell off from the VCR when I opened it. So I don't know where those were. I don't know. And also I noticed this little arm here. So it should go back down there with a spring, but like it sticks, like it doesn't want to move. So that's most of the time caused by dry grease. So I'm going to untighten this here and see if I can remove the bad grease in this. So right now what I just did is I took off this plastic part here on top of the pinch roller assembly, so the metal part that holds the pinch roller, and I lifted that off, and also the pinch roller, and I removed this nut here with pliers, and so I could remove this arm here, and this is where there was some bad grease, and that prevented the arm from moving. And so I removed the bad grease, and now, as you can see, it's moving correctly now. And so that's how you fix it. And this is a pretty common problem on VCRs, but it especially happens with these Sony here, like this. So it's a common problem on these Sony. I've seen multiple videos of it happening. I've never had this problem with my Sony VCR. It has always worked well. And so now the mechanism seems to be working well on this Mitsubishi VCR. And so I just press play. And the picture does work, but it is not working pretty well because in the middle of the screen there is a line here. And so there is this line in the center of the screen. And I thought that this could be a tape alignment problem. And usually when there is a tape alignment problem, you fix it by adjusting these screws here. You move these screws on top of the tape guides, here like in the center of the screen. And that will adjust the tape alignment. But in this case, well, I was unable to move these screws because I don't have the right tool to move these screws. I only have a regular flat screwdriver, and I was unable to move them with my tool, my screwdriver. So usually it works, but on this one it's like more tight, and so I'm unable to move them. So what I could do is like maybe cut a slot in this using my Dremel tool, and so now then I can use my flat screwdriver. So a Dremel tool, when you work on these things, or like I don't know, when you do crafts and stuff like that, or repairs, could be useful. Now I will eject the tape. And so the mechanism seems to be fully functional, so that's cool. But I cannot sell or donate this VCR because of that issue on the screen, because I do not want someone else to have the trouble. So I'm going to bring this VCR to the recycling center, and so that kind of sucks, but yeah, like I said, I don't want somebody else to have the trouble, and I will keep this VCR if I did not have already a working VCR with this mechanism, which is the model HS-U54, and I haven't showed you the model number yet, so I'll just show it to you right now. And so HS-U54, that's the model number of this VCR. And so the back is a pretty basic back. You have on most pretty much all VCRs, with some exceptions. You have the heavy input and output, and RF, so the coaxial for the TV. And on this one you have two audio outputs. So if you want to plug one to the TV, for example, and the other one to like a stereo receiver or an amplifier, you could do that on this VCR. And here on the sticker the date is written, so October 91, so 2 years after the manufacturing of my HS-U54, which is stored right now. It's here. So check out my video of this VCR if you haven't. So one difference that I noticed with my other VCR is here on the loading motor. So pretty cool. I can zoom with this camera to show you parts like this, and this Sony camera zooms pretty well. So cell phones can't do that. So this is something I like. So here on this motor there is a belt, and you might be wondering why it's there. What is it driving? Well, it's driving absolutely nothing. And apparently it was just there, this belt, so you could manually turn the motor if you needed to. But this is really pointless. So a belt that does nothing in a VCR. So this is this Mitsubishi. Some have it, some don't, and they are the only case of this kind of thing that I've seen. So I'll just show you the tape loading mechanism from this from this angle. So it's pretty cool to see. Pretty cool to see from the back side. So pretty cool to see from this angle. And this is one of my favorite tape mechanisms, VHS mechanisms. It's really nice to see, but one thing I don't like on those is like that grease that dries. It's a common problem on these Mitsubishi, and it's really problematic, causes troubles on many of these Mitsubishi VCRs. They all have that grease, and it dries. And it can also happen in the idler mechanism, which will cause the mechanism not to turn well, and in some cases eat the tape. And so that really isn't great. And so in my opinion, this Mitsubishi mechanism, the newer one, is better. It doesn't have that grease that dries, and I don't know, some people say that the older VCRs are like built like a tank and more reliable, but I don't agree on all of these, because like when you see a modern VCR like this one, it's more likely that it's gonna work than when you find a vintage one like this, or even older. So I find this Mitsubishi, so like more likely that it will work than when you find this one. But most of the time in these vintage ones, it's mostly the mechanism that goes bad, and you can just do some basic repairs, and like most of the vintage VCRs, you just have to replace belts and tires, and the VCR starts working again. But on this one it's a little more complicated, because there's that grease problem. And on this one, here's the mode switch here, and replacing this mode switch or cleaning it requires soldering. So if you want to clean this mode switch, you have to solder. And so I would be able to do it if I had something to unsolder, but I do not have anything to do it. Like it's some sort of desoldering wick, or something like a little pump, a little vacuum thing that you could use to remove the solder metal, and so I don't have that. But if I would be able. On this one, you could see the mechanism works well, so it does not need to be cleaned. So we will not bother with it. But anyway, unfortunately, this VCR will probably be going to the recycling center. So this VCR is a hi-fi stereo VCR, which is pretty good for that time, early 90s. So we probably set it on this door here, which now it's missing. And the front of this VCR is very basic. You have power, eject, channel buttons, which they are called scan. So rewind, play, fast forward, stop, pause, and record. Just the basic VCR functions. So you don't have like a lot of buttons like you have on this high-end beta VCR or this high-end 8mm. So some editing functions on this one. So with this, you don't have this on this one. It's more basic. The Mitsubishi HS-U54, which is stored here, also has more buttons, more high-end than this one. But pretty good VCR overall for that time. So that's pretty much it for my video, and goodbye.